Hello everyone, my name is Bai Chi, and I am a good person. Oh no, I almost forgot that I am not called Baiki now. Reintroduction. Hello everyone, my name is Gaya Mildanovich Stanley Bulovsky, I am from Good Man of the Fighting Nation. Maybe you have already guessed that I am a time traveler from the 21st century, and my time travel also starts from that stormy night when I was sitting by the bed and typing on the computer. Suddenly there was lightning and thunder outside the window. Immediately afterwards, I did not know what was going on. I guess I was struck by lightning. Sigh, forget it, I've timed back anyway, so there's nothing more to say. But you let me time damn, at least let me time as a normal person, okay? What the is it to become a criminal who was arrested after an attempted rape? I never thought that I would go to jail as a dead house that stays at home every day. The first day was very difficult. I really can't get used to this kind of life. Basically the only pastime is to brag about NB with other people, bragging about how many people they have killed and how much money they have robbed, how witty they are. But I want to say, TMD, you are so NB, why do you still use to rob banks? Why don't you go to prison if you are so NB? Alas! I have nothing to brag about blowing B with them, and I even look down on the original owner of this body if the woman fails. I was really unlucky enough, but I don't know if God opened his eyes or my lucky day came. The next day a man in black found me and told me he had the ability to get me out of prison and erase it my criminal record. The only requirement is to let me join their organization. Oh my God! This is the treatment that time travelers should have. So I signed the contract on the white paper he gave me without saying a word, and I was taken away not long after. It was also at that time that I knew the name of the organization he said, SCP Foundation. But then I found out. I seem to have some misunderstandings about time travel, because even if you travel through time, you are not necessarily the protagonist, and you will not have the protagonist aura. In this case, it seems that NPC is more suitable our identities, and me? I think I will be the kind of cannon fodder NPC with the shortest life. If God gives me another chance, I will die in prison no matter what, because this ghost place called SCP Asylum is completely for you to change places to stay in the bureau. And every day there are various experiments where 9 lives are not enough for you. Let me just put it in a nutshell. This SCP shelter is full of mysterious monsters that pose a fatal threat to humans, such as lizards that are more than 10 meters long, and the undead lizard numbered SCP-682. I heard that the group of people above they are still trying their best to kill this guy, but due to the strong regenerative ability and tenacious vitality of the big lizard, they have never succeeded. It is said that this thing has become a master, not only can talk but also is arrogant. All the monsters imprisoned here are monsters that only appear in stories, and their unbelievable abilities simply the scientific world. They are divided into 3 levels, safe. Monsters of this level are generally harmless to humans, and some of them will even take the initiative to get close to humans. Anyway, I don't know about the Foundations. Why are people arresting them? Did such a group of cuties offend you? Alas! It's so pitiful that SCP-999 is locked up here. You know, SCP-999 is my best friend after time travel. He's one of the few SCPs that can roam freely within the Foundation. In addition to safe, the remaining 2 levels of monsters are Usold and Keter. Usold refers to those SCPs that people have not studied clearly and may cause harm to people, but the degree of danger is less than Keter. As for Keter, take the giant Sundara crawler numbered 682 I mentioned earlier as an example. This guy has been trying to escape from prison, and he often succeeds in escaping from prison. Every time he causes a lot of casualties, and if he escapes, the SCP it is very difficult for people to catch him back. By the way, these 3 danger levels are not only from the degree of danger, but more importantly, the difficulty of containment. If 682 crawler is as easy to be caught as catching ants, then even if he can fight, he is only a Usold level a normal crawl 4. D2333, come out. At this time, other people called me from outside my room. I guess that group of people are going to arrest me for experiments again. The last experiment was only a day ago. 7 of the 8 people with me died. Only one guy with the number D87465 survived with me, and by the way, I meet him every time I take part in the experiment. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention that the personnel of the SCP Foundation are divided into 4 levels of DCBA, and we class personnel are all heinous criminals. In the Foundation, we mainly play the role of guinea pigs. We all have different to be distinguished by a number, such as mine, D2333. Come on. I waited until the door of my room opened automatically, answered casually, and walked out. I didn't panic. I had my own means to survive so many dangerous experiments. Although I don't know what's going on with me, it's definitely easy to survive these experiments. As soon as I stepped out of the room, I saw several heavily armed guards standing neatly together. Behind them was a doctor in a white coat. Besides me, there is another class personnel. We both froze when we saw each other. Oh my god, who are we offending? Why are we included in every experiment? That class personnel is exactly D87465 who has been with me through life and death countless times. I smiled wryly at him a few times, but this guy just shrugged his shoulders indifferently. He was very calm. Is it these 2 people? The doctor in the white coat turned his head and asked the guard on the side. Yes, 2 survivors from a total of 5 experiments. A guard replied. The doctor thought about it, and my intuition told me that this guy was not a fun guy. Sure enough, the next moment he said something that made me want to go up and give him 2 slaps. What experiment are you doing this time? Surviving from 096, no. Ah. I see, go clean the room for 682. I really want to know why they can escape from survive so many experiments. That's right, it's decided. You two, come with us. Why survive? Because I'm NB. Clean the room for 682? I can you, it's better to shoot me directly, at least it can leave a whole body. If you really meet 682, you can only turn into a in the end. If it wasn't for the guards all around with guns and live ammunition, I would have gone up and slapped the doctor and said see you again. But due to helplessness, I sighed and followed along with 87,465. I am very confident in my special ability. Maybe I can really survive this experiment. So now let's talk about my special abilities. Awaredo. Cough, well, it can be translated as time stop in human terms. Only I know this ability I have and why I can survive those horrific experiments. It's a pity that my ability is not controllable. It will only be activated automatically when I am attacked. At the same time, I will become very strong and fast, and I don't think it is difficult to keep a bear as a pet. I have never told anyone about this ability. After all, everyone has agreed that we class personnel can go home after working for a month. If I leak my ability and be listed as an SCP, I will be imprisoned for life. Ah! Hey bro, how did you survive these few experiments? At this time, D87465, who was walking next to me, spoke to me, and he seemed to be curious about why I was still alive. Only vodka can defeat us Russians, you? Brother, why are you reading www.yuyugonshu.com still alive? Me. 87,465 pointed to his face and then shrugged indifferently, it's just good luck. You two, be quiet. At this moment, the security personnel next to us gave us both a look. This group of people is really too much, and they are not allowed to say a few words when they are about to die. But thinking about it, this D87465 is really lucky. Every time he does an experiment, he can avoid disaster by coincidence. Let me give you an example. 87,465 and another guy went to the market to buy vegetables. When they walked to the road, a sports car suddenly rushed out from the left. 87465's companion was walking on the left, so he was killed on the spot by Pudgy, but the sports car continued to move forward. But when he was about to touch 87,465, the car suddenly exploded on the spot and then ascended to the sky on the spot, hurting less than 87,465. I took a look at 87,465 and sighed, what a pity, we have lived and died together so many times, but this experiment is different, face to face with that kind of monster is sure to die, no matter how lucky you are. Maybe the guy in the room where SCP-682 was held was suddenly rioting and broke through the shelter and escaped before the two of us? As I was thinking, the alarm at the shelter suddenly sounded, and even the lights turned an unsettling red. This sudden situation confused us all. Urgent notification, SCP-682 has breached containment. Notification, SCP-682 has breached containment. All personnel are on alert. Repeat, all personnel are on alert. The sound from the speakers made all of us tense, while I and 87,465 looked at each other. Fuck, I just think about it, how could I break through the containment? Undead Lizard, Item Number, SCP-682. Object Class, Keter. Special Containment Procedures, SCP-682 must be destroyed as soon as possible. Currently, SCP teams are unable to destroy SCP-682, other than to inflict substantial physical damage on it. SCP-682 is to be contained in a 5mx5mx5m container, with 25 cm thick reinforced acid-resistant steel lining all interior walls. The containment container is to be filled with hydrochloric acid until SCP-682 is completely submerged and rendered incapable of resistance. If SCP-682 attempts to move, speak, or breach containment procedures, it must react quickly and with all its strength, as appropriate. In order to avoid provoking SCP-682, employees are prohibited from speaking with it. Any unauthorized personnel attempting to communicate with SCP-682 are to be forcibly stopped and removed. Due to its frequent attempts to breach containment procedures, the difficulty of containing and incapacitating it, and the high threat of Foundation exposure, SCP-682 is contained at data expunged. The Foundation uses considerable resources to ensure that 50 kilometers are free of human habitation. As mentioned above, SCP-682 is an extremely dangerous manating crawler. I heard that this guy has breached containment not once or twice, but what I didn't expect is that I just thought about it and this guy really broke containment. I can't help but think about why, this TM is too coincidental. So I set my sights on D87465. Could it be that he also has some kind of special ability like me but didn't tell others? If it's just Huang, then it's really too lucky. D2333 and D87465, you two come with me. The doctor frowned uncomfortably, and then we were escorted to a safe place by his guards. This is a small room, there are only a few of us. It seems that the doctor put the two of us here deliberately, because according to the urine nature of the Foundation, I think all the class personnel have probably been used by the distribution of weapons at this time. Let's deal with SCP-682, shall we? I glanced at D87465, this guy is so calm, even now he looks like he is about to fall asleep. Isn't this guy afraid of death? Brother, aren't you afraid that 682 has breached containment? I asked. Ah? Brother, die, believe me, people are mortal. If you die sooner or later, you will die. If you die, you will go to heaven. In the end, you will die. If you die, you will die. So what is the difference between early death and late death? However, D87465's answer left me speechless. Is this the legendary death is home? A sense of admiration arises spontaneously. So I went up and took his hand and looked into his eyes, the bravest man I've ever seen. At the same time, he noticed that my gaze was also turned to look at me with affection, face, and affection, dislike, and pulse, dislike. Before I could speak, he took the initiative to say to me, I'm not brother. Well, it's a bit embarrassing, a man I admire misunderstood me, but it's okay, I still have to say what's in my heart, you are the bravest man I've ever met in my life. D87465, Scared European Emperor Limited Edition D2333, please be quiet. Do you want to feed 682? The guard on the side gave me a hard look. Hey! This guy is very brave. Dare to talk to the Russians like that. I was also a man who picked up a wooden stick and beat a bear back then. At this time, the guard took out the baton attached to his waist. Damn, you are the one who is talking about you. Brother is right, I'll just shut up. Guard. Humph, is it great to have a weapon? If it weren't for seeing how many of you there are, if I go up, a Russian crushing bear punches your head to the ground. As the saying goes, if you can't bear it, you can make big plans. I don't want to argue with this guy. Heroes may be far-sighted, witty, and even TMD makes people wonder if this guy has the aura of the protagonist, but they all have one characteristic in common, that is thick skin. And of course I, who is also a hero, can let go of my face. It's all for the future. After that, I don't know how long the alarm went off, but eventually SCP-682 was recontained. Just when I wondered if the doctor was going to use us to experiment with 682, he said, "You two, go back to your room first." He seemed to be thinking about something, and he waved his hand and sent us back to our respective cells. It seems that many people died in this attack. With a mouth full of saliva, is this the power of SCP? Of course, it is impossible to be afraid. I am a Russian. I only need to worry about not having enough vodka and whether there is a bear to beat. But think about it carefully, now I am not only not drinking but also no bear beating. I feel that if I don't drink another sip of vodka, I will be close to death. Brother. At this time, I stopped the guard on the side. I seem to have something wrong, I feel dizzy. Don't call me big brother, don't be close. My name is Mondo. Wow, what a strange name. Okay, Amen is still so strict, but then again, do you still have a brother named Mundo who calls you a big every day? Okay, Boss Mondor, I feel extremely unwell. Why are there so many messes? Meng Duo asked impatiently. 2M dizzy. I saw the guy who called himself Mondo looked me up and down suspiciously, his eyes were not white, he really saw that I was not in the right state. Then I'll take you to the infirmary, Mondo said. No, no need, Boss Mondor, I'm Russian. I haven't had a sip of vodka for half a month. You reading www.yuyugonshu.com, can you? Kind eyes Is there any reason? I just traveled through time, I really haven't broken the law. Why should I be treated like this? Anyone who doesn't have a bear or vodka is an unhappy guy, like me. In the end, this unkind Mondor threw me back into the cell, which was apathetic, and I felt as if I was being hollowed out. At this moment, I suddenly remembered that the brother of D87465 was next to me, so I got up and went to the window to chat with him to relieve the stress, because it seemed that he was the only one who could talk to me, and the other class personnel seemed to think that they would not live for a month, so they had no intention of talking at all. Brother! Come here! D87465 turned his head in surprise when he heard the voice. What are you doing? Let's make friends, we've done so many experiments together, it's considered a life and death relationship. Look at the other people in this place are lifeless, we can't be like them. Friend. D87465 pondered for a while, he was always lucky, he was lucky when his friends died in a car accident, but he was still alive in a good plane crash, all relatives died and only he himself lived. If he was so lucky that everyone around him died, only he himself lived alone. D87465 sighed, it doesn't matter, anyway, he is going to die in the end, so what about making friends? Just call me Henry, D87465 said. What's your name? You have an accent. Oh, my name is Gaya Mildanovich Stanley Bulovsky, and I'm a good fellow. Actually, I have been thinking, yesterday the doctor let me and Henry, 87,465, leave because he finally noticed something. Although I deliberately hid my ability, I survived 5 Keter level experiments. TMD is obviously abnormal. And Henry sat on the side picking his nostrils and the experiment was over. I don't know what the doctor thinks, anyway, I'm a bit panicked. If my abilities are discovered and included in the SCP, I will be imprisoned for life. I'm such a good guy, oh no, what a nerd. I don't deserve this kind of treatment. Henry and I were dragged out of the cell early this morning, and it was Mondo who came to pick us up, saying that we were going to do experiments again. When did Amen lie to me? Immediately, I felt that a catastrophe was imminent. I was sent to this kind of place within less than a week of crossing. I now feel like I am riding a bicycle to visit a tiger park. And I still don't know about my ability. If it fails one time, wouldn't it be the fastest time traveler? Hey, I'm still young, I don't want to die. It seems that because 682 broke through the containment yesterday, the people in the base are still nervous now. It can be seen from the fact that there are more guards than usual. I heard that 682 ran out of the shelter yesterday, and the Foundation dispatched all available mobile task forces brought SCP-682 into a trap to bring him back. After staying in the Foundation for a long time, my concept of time was messed up. I just felt that I was locked up in that small room for a long time, and then 682 was caught. Henry and I were taken to another room by Mondor. Henry was pushed into the room first while I stood dryly at the door of the room. What kind of experiment is this time? Anyway, I'm not very worried about Henry. Last night I recalled what Henry did in the last 5 experiments, and I'm even more convinced that he has the ability of SCP, because everything is too coincidental. Boss Mundo, what kind of experiment is this time? I asked. Have no idea. Amen's mouth is a bit tight, and it seems that he can't ask anything. Everyone in the Foundation is like a ghost story. A bunch of experiments don't tell you what's going on. Nobody knows. The air was very quiet for a while, and after an unknown amount of time, the doctor's familiar voice came from the room. Next. I scratched my head, glanced at Mundo, and then walked into the room. I didn't care, anyway, I would stop from time to time, even if they got up suddenly, they couldn't hit me with a single shot. As soon as I entered the door, I heard the door behind me being violently closed. It should be the door closed by Meng Duo. Come here, please sit. The doctor was sitting on a chair, there was a table in front of him, and the chair opposite seemed to be for me, but what I was thinking was, where did Henry go? Apart from me and the doctor, there are only a few guards with guns in this room. I went over to the seat and sat down. God knows what they did to get Henry away, but I figured he'd be fine because the guy was lucky enough to explode. Although so many experiments have been done, you still don't know my name? D2333, you can call me Dr. Rhine. Dr. Rhine speaks politely, with a delicate and petty look. Bah, this trick doesn't work for us idiots. Besides, this guy almost killed me several times. MD, even if I stop sometimes, it doesn't mean I'm invincible, those SCPs are becoming more and more perverted. Hi, Dr. Wright, I'd like some vodka, I said. Oh, no, it's Dr. Rhine. Rhine corrected. Okay, Dr. Reiner, I'd like some vodka. No, it's Dr. Rhine. No problem, Dr. Cao Li Layla, I would like to drink vodka. Forget it, call it whatever you like. Dr. Cao Li Layla sighed helplessly and then gestured to the guard on the side. Surprised, the guard took out a bottle of vodka from behind and put it on my table as if he knew I was going to drink in advance, and I naturally opened the bottle cap with my bare hands without saying a word and took a swig. Comrade, vodka. So, I've had a drink, should I introduce yourself? Dr. Rhine looked at me and said, this guy looks polite, but for us boys, he still blows B while drinking and then asks casually. The question is more in line with the mind. Oh, my name is Gaia, I'm 25 years old, and I'm a nice guy. I don't mean this, I mean your past experience or something. Oh, I knocked over a bear with a wooden stick when I was 16 years old, when I was still in junior high school. Ryan. Oh. Ryan sighed slightly, then raised his head and looked at me with interest. Then did you notice anything unusual when you were fighting the bear? Oh, that bear is a bit cowardly. I just hit him a few times before he ran away with his tail between his legs. Pooh. Bear? Doesn't exist, I heard you are fierce. Can you kill us, Mizzy? But if you think about it carefully, the owner of this body really had pure physical skills when he was masturbating a bear with a wooden stick. Now that he has time traveled, he miraculously possesses the ability of time stop. Ryan seemed to be speechless to me. He squeezed his eyebrows and then continued to ask, do you still remember how you got into prison? Wow, I was stunned. Which pot was not opened and which pot was lifted? This is not a heroic deed. So I explained, you may not believe me, I'm not interested in young girls, and I'm not the one who does weird things. I was wronged. Although I smoke, drink, beat bears, I'm really a good person. Ryan put his hands on the table, crossed his fingers and looked at me. Well, how do you think you survived the last 5 experiments? I mean, it should be more difficult than beating a bear, right? Because I'm NB. I replied naturally. Ryan hammered his head down as if he couldn't bear it, then gestured to the guards on one side, and then said to me, D2333, you reading www.yuyuganshu.com or Mr. Gaia. We are now. I need your cooperation to do an experiment. Your friend D87465 has passed the experiment, we hope you will perform well. Ah, what the hell? Before I finished speaking, I saw the guards pointing their guns at me, and then they pulled the trigger. Damn it! I screamed and saw flames sprayed out from the muzzle of the gun, and soon the bullet stopped a few centimeters in front of me. I rely on. Could this group of people be conducting SCP tests? Have I been found out? They say that Henry has passed the experiment, does that mean he has been marked as an SCP and taken away? Now everything in my eyes is still, those guards, bullets and Dr. Cao Li Leilet, they are all still. If I want to get out of this state, I can only get out of danger or get out of this state voluntarily. Even so, my ability is still very unstable. Not much to say, I got up and first took the key to the base from Dr. Cao Li Leilet, and then gave the guards a severed son and grandson. Slip away. Otherwise, you will be imprisoned for life. Suddenly, Ryan regained consciousness in a trance, a bullet flew past his cheek, and his guards fell down screaming while clutching their crotches, and the chair where D2333 was originally sitting was empty. Not only him, the key to the room was gone, and even the door of the closed room was opened. It is obvious what happened. Ryan quickly took out the SCP-specific walkie-talkie and thought for a while, then shouted, SCP is not numbered, D2333 broke containment, dispatched all available personnel. The bases of the SCP Foundation are all over the world, and each base holds different SCPs, at least that's what I heard, but I don't know what the situation is. Many of these bases are built underground, so many SCPs, such as me, would not know where they were even if they escaped from the base. I just escaped and didn't run far when I saw a dark and long-haired thing with an 8-pack staring at me. Well, don't tell me. The little thing looks trademark chic. Immediately afterwards, that little chick suddenly went crazy for some reason. I obviously didn't do anything, but he picked up a wooden stick and hit me on the head screaming. This little chic voice is really ugly. Of course I can't stand up and give him a hammer, even a bear would not dare to mess with me like this, a little chimpanzee who will give you the courage. Taking advantage of Shi Ting, I snatched his wooden stick and slapped him on the face. Then the time stop ended, and I yelled out louder than this guy. The power of the trademark bear. He seemed to be blinded by my slap, and turned around and ran away, yelling as if crying when he heard my cry. MD somehow. But to get back to the original question, I have to run away quickly, otherwise the scoundrels of the SCP Foundation might take me back and do something. The previous experiments were all against SCPs, but I was still in danger even with time stop, and the Foundation, which has the ability to catch these SCPs, might have something that can catch me. Henry is still locked in the base, which is the most troublesome thing for me, and he seems to have been imprisoned by the Foundation as an SCP, and we have been born and died together so many times. No matter what, I have to go back and save him. But for now, let me run away first. The background of SCP can be said to be no worse than that of a country. It has all kinds of aircraft and tanks. It can be said that it is not difficult to find me. Maybe there's a pervert staring at me from the back of my right now. Playing hide-and-seek with the Foundation is definitely pointless, so I decided to let myself go and start running toward the sunset. This is an ordinary forest. Although I don't know why there are chimpanzees here, I always think there should be a town nearby, because I saw a small road not far away. As the saying goes, there is no such thing in this world. A road becomes a road when there are many people walking. Follow this road and you should be able to walk to the nearest town. However, I didn't expect the Foundation to go so far. I was treated the same as 682. Even the helicopters were dispatched. The only difference from 682 is that there is no tank, maybe it is afraid of being snatched by me. Not to mention these pursuers, the orange prison uniform on my body is conspicuous enough. With that said, I have nowhere to go. I don't know how far I ran, but I finally couldn't run anymore. Anyway, I am also a man who beat the Soviet bear, so my physical fitness is certainly not bad. Their helicopters didn't seem to notice that I had flown and disappeared. I guess the SCP troops should have been thrown away by me, too. Of course, I can't die and walk directly on the main road. I have identified the direction and then walked in the dense forest, which can effectively reduce the chance of me being discovered. In addition to my running all the way, I should not be in any danger. Up. However, at this moment, I walked around the big tree in front of me to ask some people to protect the environment, but I met another guy who suddenly came out. This guy is about the same age as me, and he can tell at a glance that he is a weakling. However, at this time, he was wearing a black SCP Foundation soldier costume that was completely inconsistent with his temperament. As the saying goes, when two tigers fight, there must be a fight. This little Shao actually chased me so hard, so don't blame me for being merciless. So when I went up, I punched him with a horse step and knocked him back several steps away. However, at this time, the SCP soldier's heart was full of shit. He and his team had just received an order to hunt down D2333, but they were performing another mission at the time. When they received the order to hunt down, they have already been dispersed, and in desperation, they can only act alone to search for SCP unnumbered D2333. In the end, I didn't know that I was so unlucky. It took only a few steps to meet the target. Facing the SCP alone, this is a dead rhythm for me. However, Gaia didn't care about that much. While attacking the soldier, he still shouted horse step punch punch to force him to retreat again and again. The soldier sideways dodged an uppercut from Gaia and then took out the walkie-talkie on his waist. Seeing this, Gaia yelled again, horse step punch. The soldier subconsciously bent down to dodge Gaia's attack, but Gaia swung his fist halfway, suddenly retracted it, kicked the soldier in the stomach, and grabbed the walkie-talkie. The soldier got up from the ground and then backed up until he stuck to a tree. The vivid description is that he is lonely, weak, and helpless. Damn! What kind of superpower does this SCP have? The soldier thought in his heart, because launching an attack without knowing the opponent would probably kill him. At this time, what Gaia thought in his heart was, damn it, why doesn't this guy slap me? I feel like I can manually blow up the Soviet giant bear. Gaia couldn't help but have a headache, so he would be slow to deal with this guy. But not much difference. So Gaia walked towards the soldier aggressively, without the intercom. I want to see how you notify other people. Just scream. No one will come to save you if you break your throat. I said maliciously as I walked into the soldier. Hustle, hurry, hurry. The soldier was terrified, and he backed away until the end of the road while cursing. Suddenly, he stretched out his hand and took out the pistol pinned to his waist. Hand up. Otherwise, I will shoot gun. Gun? I haven't heard of a gun working on any SCP until now. Hey, then you shoot. I said indifferently and got closer and closer. I. The soldier's hand holding the gun kept shaking. Yu reading www.yuuganshu.com. He has participated in the capture of Keter level SCPs several times, but every time many people will die tragically. Could it be that he will die here today? I walked all the way to the soldier, grabbed the soldier's gun in an instant and then broke it with bare hands and threw it aside. The soldier was already dumbfounded when he saw this. Heck, you ignorant guy, this is just our basic operation, that's all. Don't kill me. I still have my family. The soldier suddenly fell to his knees, hugged his head and cried bitterly. My goodness, this child's psychological shadow is heavy. Sagia didn't say anything. I sighed and then made a vicious expression. Then you'd better be obedient. You, what are you going to do? Hey! Don't take off my clothes, what the hell? Damn it! Don't move! I angrily threw his body armor a few meters away and then unbuttoned his jacket. No, don't! Stop it! The mother said don't move. Why are you acting like a little bitch? I stripped off the soldier's shirt and my orange prison uniform to reveal a six-pack ABSU. What are you going to do? The soldier screamed, my God, why does this guy look at me like a gay? I just want to change clothes and sneak into the city. I didn't explain to this guy. I immediately pulled off his waistband and then stripped off his pants. Ah! He was about to scream when I covered his mouth with my hand. MD was so dangerous. He was almost exposed. So I simply raised my hand and punched the guy unconscious. It's really getting in the way. I don't know how long it took. I just kept walking, even though I didn't see any SCP personnel. My heart was still hanging. Who knows if a group of bald men holding guns will pop out at the next moment and shout surprise motherfucker to me. I was very nervous, especially after stripping an SCP soldier naked and tying it to a tree. Although I imitated the soldier's voice and gave false information to the SCP on the walkie-talkie to make them think I was going in the opposite direction, but I don't know how long this can fool them. After all, it's already very hard for me to hide my Mazee accent. Just like those black guys, many of them rap with their own voices. Can you make him not rap so that he can do it? Of course it doesn't work. God knows what I've been through. At this time, I saw a small stream not far away. What a coincidence, I just felt thirsty. Unhygienic, I'm a moron. What's the point of drinking unboiled water? I'm going to be the second man standing at the top of the food chain. I walked to the creek and looked down. The water reflected my reflection, and I burst into tears. I'm so handsome. Cough, well, fleeing should look like fleeing. Why did I act like a mentally retarded person from the beginning to the end? Is it because there is no vodka to drink? I seem to have seen the words IQ1 written in Russian keep popping up above my head. This is really scary, but if you take a closer look at the clothes I'm wearing now, it's not bad. Although the tactical trousers and tactical boots are a bit strange, they are better than the orange prison uniform. I only have a white shirt on my upper body now. The soldier is a little smaller than me, so I have to say that I wear it a little tight. I picked up the stream water with my hand, then moved it to my mouth and took a sip, then looked up at the sky. How long have I been out? It's getting dark. Why isn't there even a town near here? But if you think about it carefully, the scary big crawler SCP-682 is also being imprisoned here. Considering that this guy will always break through, the Containment Foundation will definitely use its property to ensure that there are no human beings living nearby. After all, if 682 is discovered by civilians and leads to it's a big problem if the Foundation is exposed to the world. Although civilians saw 682 most of the time, they would just be eaten by Grandpa 682 like bread and then decomposed into and excreted. It's really a headache. I have to find a place full of people to hide, and when I get to the town, I can try to expose the Foundation's existence as a threat to force the Foundation to make concessions, but in the forest, I can only play and hide with the Foundation cat. Besides, I haven't eaten yet. Now I should be safe, so I just sat on a rock beside me and thought about it. It's definitely not the way to go on like this. God knows how long I will walk on foot. The longer I walk, the greater the chance of being discovered. After all, those high-tech SCP's equipment is not for joking with people. Then, a bold idea emerged from my mind. There are more than 7 billion people in the world. I have traveled through time now, but I am still on the Earth. This world is in 2034, with a population of more than 8 billion. Even if the Foundation can control a certain area without human habitation, there is no way to guarantee that no human will pass through. Unless I'm in the Amazon rainforest or the Arctic where birds don't shit, but obviously not, and there are often signs of people passing by here. If I'm going in the right direction and my prediction is correct, I can go a little further and see a road for traffic. I'm so smart. Cough. Next, you may wonder why I am looking for Malu, but maybe you have guessed it, there is only one answer. Grab the car. Since I can't attack SCPs, I can only attack civilians. Alas, it's not my fault, is it? I was also forced to do this because I was cornered. After all, I am a good person. Although I smoke, drink and have nothing to do and like to bully bears, I am really a good person. Just imagine, being imprisoned by SCP in a detention center full of murderous monsters and containment failure at every turn. You don't know how to die, will you feel at ease? And this is life imprisonment. You are locked in a small room and can only spend the rest of your life with your left and right hands. The most annoying thing is that someone monitors you 24 hours a day. How desperate do I need to say? Anyway, I will never let the Foundation catch me, so I will do whatever it takes. But to be honest, a few weeks ago, I was still a dead house drinking Fat House Happy Water and playing a new game at home. This sudden change brought about by time travel was a bit too fast for me to accept. I don't know what happened to my parents. Well, let's not mention those sad things. Only by being free can I have the opportunity to return to the original world. Now I have no choice, so let's go to the road and get stuck in traffic. Can't be blocked, then can't be blocked. How could things get worse? If you get caught, it's a big deal to find a chance and run out again. I didn't do anything more, just crossed the creek and walked forward. The good news is that my prediction was right, and I saw a road not long after walking. I walked outside the road and walked forward in the direction of the road. Even if there was no traffic jam, I would walk to the town. This is Amazi and his last stubbornness. MD, I think this can be used to make movies. It's getting late, I can't help but feel a headache, no car has passed by here, and I'm tired and hungry, and it's quite cold at night, so I don't need to say more about my situation, right? Damn it! If only Henry were here. If it was him, he would definitely get stuck in traffic. I also want to be the Emperor of Europe. Well, I still have to distinguish between reality and dreams. To me, the Emperor of Europe is a myth. Looking at my series of wonderful encounters from the beginning to the present, it should go without saying how bad my luck is. Hey, despair. It's more my style than being stuck in a traffic jam and being hit by a car, right? Alas, let alone being hit by a car now, there is not even a shadow of a car here. By the way, where is this place? Anyway, this is not in Russia. The human trafficker, the man in black, brought me to this SCP base, but it took me a day to fly. I thought about it and kept going, and then I heard a car horn honking. My pupils narrowed and I turned my head violently, only to see a car parked a few centimeters behind me. My mother was almost hit by a car. I'm afraid I have opened my mouth. Well, regardless of this, at least I have a car, and I am now in a time-stop state. Does this mean that I don't need to grab it? I pinched my chin and thought for a moment. This seemed to be a good sports car. Without further ado, I lay down on the hood of that car. The driver was an uncle who seemed drunk. I stabilized my figure, found a place to hold my hands, and then closed my eyes to end the time stop. Oh shit! The uncle inside finally reacted, and slammed the brakes with his foot, and then the strong inertia immediately threw me out of the car and rolled on the ground a few times. It really hurts. I fell to the ground and groaned on the spot. The uncle quickly opened the car door and came down to check my status. He didn't seem to expect that there would be people on the road in such a place. I'll go, little brother, how are you? Are you okay? The driver ran over nervously and asked about my injury. Ah! It hurts so much, my arm is broken, I can't beat the bear. Maybe this is Penkai, Yu reading www.yuuganshu.com. In short, it is okay if it is serious. Oops, my sponge body is broken and I can't move anymore. Although I don't know what the cavernous body is, I hear doctors often mention this, so I think this cavernous body should be something very important. Ah! This, so serious. The driver didn't know what the spongy body was, but it sounded good, so he immediately panicked. Oh, I'm going to die. It hurts me to death. Help! Hearing this, the driver nervously raised his head and looked around to make sure there was no one around. He turned around and seemed to want to drive away. Come back to me. I hurriedly grabbed his trouser legs, and with all my strength, I pulled him down to the ground. I pretended to climb up and hugged his thigh tightly and looked at him with a look of, "You're in trouble. If you don't take me away, I'll be a ghost and I won't let you go." The driver was obviously scared because he couldn't move because I held his leg, so he quickly explained, "No, no. I didn't intend to leave, I'll take you to the hospital right now." "Brother, you hold on." Hearing this, I smiled from the bottom of my heart, "Hey, I'm such a smart kid. Take me away, I'm going to die if you don't go." I cried out in pain, but to be honest, I was thrown from the car and fell so painfully. "Brother, I'll help you get into the car. You can't die." "Oops. Hurry up, I'm going to die. I can't die. I'm going to die. I can't die. I'm going to die. I can't die." Connor got up early today. As a policeman, he has solved more cases than he can count. Today, he received a new task. Before embarking on this new mission, he had to do one thing, and that was to find his partner, Deputy Police Commissioner Gordon. Speaking of Gordon, everyone in the town knew about him. He used to be an anti-narcotics policeman with outstanding achievements, and he became the deputy sheriff of the police station at a young age. It's a pity that I don't know what happened later. He suddenly lost his dream. Not only was he late for work, but he even had to be forcibly forced by someone to handle the case. Now that he is old, he is only a deputy director. Partnering with the deputy director's team, Connor has suffered a lot. He does all the dirty work, and the deputy director himself is eating melon seeds and pinching his feet. But I have to say that although the deputy director rarely helps in person, but every word that comes out of his mouth can be used as a clue. So Connor still respects him a lot. Connor came to the deputy director's house by car. After getting out of the car, he went straight to the door and rang the doorbell. "Deputy Director? Are you there? It's time for us to go on a mission." After a long time, Connor didn't get a reply, and he couldn't help but frown. Could it be that the deputy director stayed up all night eating chicken and couldn't get out of bed again? Connor couldn't help sighing. Since he couldn't get in through the main entrance, he had to turn over the window. I hope the deputy director didn't lock the window. After all, this task is very important. Connor walked to the other side of the house. The curtains of the window were drawn, and he looked and Commissioner Gordon fell to the ground, the chair just beside him. Connor was taken aback for a moment, then quickly opened the window and turned handsomely into the house. And fell down. Oh shit! What is it? Connor fell to the ground hard. He felt that he had stepped on something, and when he looked back, it turned out to be a wine bottle. Immediately afterwards, the strong smell of alcohol entered Connor's nostrils uncontrollably, which made him frown, as if he was being overwhelmed. He half-kneeled next to the deputy director, only to see that the deputy director's face was as red as a monkey's butt, and at the same time, the strong smell of alcohol on his body gave Connor a headache. Deputy Director. Connor pinched his nose and pushed Gordon. Don't make trouble, I'm going to enter the Destiny Circle. Gordon was still in a coma. He waved his hands and ignored Connor. Connor couldn't help but sighed. Deputy Director, get up and handle the case. However, Gordon didn't respond. In desperation, Connor slapped Gordon lightly with his hand, and found, fuck, how cool. He looked at Gordon who was still unresponsive, then hesitantly looked at his hand, and then slapped Gordon the face. Ah! The slap was so forceful that the sleepy Gordon was woken up by the slap. He sat up and looked around in a daze, then looked at Connor and said, why are you here? Let me tell you what's wrong with you first. Why did you drink so much? You're still sleeping on the floor. At this moment, Gordon's heart skipped a beat. He blinked vigorously and then explained with a sigh, I almost won the first place in eating chicken last night, but I met a fairy who shot 9 8K bursts of my head, shot the two of us were in a daze, I felt wronged, and then I drank a lot of wine, and then I didn't know what happened. Immediately afterwards, Gordon touched his face, damn, this hack is so real, my face is still hurting. Sorry, Deputy Commissioner. Why do you say that? Connor coughed a few times in embarrassment, and he said after a while, let's not talk about that, Deputy Director, it's time for us to go on a mission. A few people who claimed to be FBI agents came to our police station just now and said yes. Ask us to help find someone. Gordon hadn't sobered up yet. He rubbed his eyes and asked in a daze, then the director left this task to us. Yes. Connor replied. Go by yourself, I won't go. Gordon replied bluntly, and then his body softened and fell to the floor again. No. Deputy Director. The director said that the two of us should carry out the task together. What are you doing? You also know that I used to pick my feet to watch you work. How grown up are you, and you need someone to accompany you when you arrest someone. Gordon didn't want to talk to Connor and turned over. This. Connor was suddenly at a loss for what to do, but then he had an idea. Connor turned around helplessly, as if he was about to leave, but said in his mouth, unfortunately, there is a beautiful woman among those FBI agents. It seems that I can only handle the case with her. Hearing this, Gordon, who was lying on the ground, suddenly stood up and followed Connor all the way. Oh, how can you leave such a dangerous job of catching fugitives to yourself, my mother, how dangerous it is. Connor couldn't help sighing. The deputy director's behavior like an old giant baby gave him a headache, but he couldn't help it. He couldn't go up and slap him. Oops. At this moment, Gordon suddenly pressed his stomach. Connor, wait for me, I feel a little uncomfortable, let me vomit for a while, and I will be back soon. After saying that, Gordon hurried to the toilet, and after a while Connor heard the sound of vomiting. Soon, Connor drove Gordon to the gate of the police station in a police car. It seemed that they didn't need to go in to report, because the 4 FBI agents were already waiting for them at the gate of the police station. Those FBI agents traveled in plain clothes as 3 men and 1 woman, and no one would have recognized them if it weren't for the fact that they were carrying FBI agent IDs. But knowing it was nothing, Connor always felt that they were a little suspicious, as if they were hiding something. Connor and Gordon got out of the car, then came to the front of the 4 agents and introduced himself. "Hello, my name is Connor, this is our Deputy Director Gordon, and the 2 of us will assist you in your work." "Hello." Gordon greeted with a raised hand, even though he still looked drunk. "Hello." The female agent stood up and replied politely, "The director said that you are the best partners in the town, and you know the town well. I believe you will give us great help." This female agent is indeed a beauty. She is probably in her 20s. Her long blonde hair looks like ears of wheat in the evening, and her simple and neat attire further highlights her heroism. Although she is watching when it came to Gordon, he seemed a little confused. "Okay, is there anything we can do to help?" Connor asked. Hearing this, the female agent put her hand into her pocket, then took out a photo and handed it to Connor. Reading www.uugonshu.com. Connor took the photo and looked up and down carefully. The photo showed a man in his 20s, more than 1.8 meters tall, with blonde hair and blue eyes. He frowned. D2333. Connor noticed the number written on the chest of the orange prison uniform and read it. "What does that mean?" Connor asked. "This is a secret." The female agent replied, "He is an extremely dangerous fugitive. We are not familiar with this town, so we need your help. We suspect that he has changed a suit of clothes and sneaked into this town. We need to catch them as soon as possible." The female agent thought for a moment and then continued, "My 3 companions will conduct an independent investigation, and I will act together with you. If you find the target, don't act rashly. I repeat, this person is extremely dangerous." "Well, we know. Miss Agent, does he have any other characteristics?" At this moment, Gordon, who had been silent all the time, spoke. "This person is from Russia, has a very obvious Russian accent, and is obsessed with bears and vodka. We can start from here." The female agent looked back at her companions, and they were ready to start investigated. They had to recontain D2333 as soon as possible, because he was very likely to expose the Foundation, so they came to this town disguised as FBI agents. As professional agents of the SCP, they are more professionally trained than others. As long as they can find D2333, then everything can be solved, because they have already figured out a way to recontain D2333. Although when I first started escaping, I thought that the Foundation would ensure that no one would live within a certain range near the base, but I never thought that the Foundation would be so mad that even the nearest town to the base is at least 50 kilometers away, 50,000 meters. If I hadn't hitched a ride with Penkai, I'm afraid I'd break my legs. When I arrived in the town, I didn't have much with the driver. I just said that I was fine and then got out of the car and left. I don't care what he thinks, anyway, he hit me first, hey. As for why? Mainly because I thought it was silly. Now that I've arrived in town, I still can't let it go, because danger often comes when you think it's safe, and when people react, they often feel like a person who thinks they're watching in the dark. I don't intend to make that kind of mistake. The people of the SCP Foundation are very smart. If they are all stupid, then the containment of 682 is completely impossible, so I speculate that all the towns near this SCP base have been inserted into the Foundation agent. But I think I'll be fine as long as I keep a low profile and run away. The city has a train station and I can take a train to other cities and then figure out how to get out of the country. According to the information disclosed by the driver who was arguing with me on the road, my location should be in the southern United States. But it's a pity, although I'm talking about taking the train and leaving this country, but in fact I don't have a dime on me. Not to mention taking a train to leave here, I don't even have a place to rest, and I haven't eaten yet. In fact, it's morning, but I arrived in the city last night, so I had nowhere to stay and spent the whole night sleeping on a park chair. I feel like my waist is about to break right now. My back, which even a bear can't hurt, was actually broken by a mere park bench. Can you believe it? It's ironic enough. If I had known earlier, I would have extorted some more money from that uncle driver. Hey, one misstep will cause eternal hatred. There is nothing more to say now. I must hurry up and find a way to get out of this town by train, because it is no longer safe here. Isn't it easy for them to capture an SCP with little combat effectiveness like me? Don't look at me at this moment, it sounds very NB, but the flaw is also obvious. For example, if you lock me in a sealed room and then fill it with water, the only thing waiting for me is to drown. Because the non-aggressive behavior of being submerged in water can't trigger my time-stop ability, and it's even more impossible for me to get that kind of perverted strength and agility enhancement to punch through the wall and run out. But if you want to talk about the way to capture me, then I can say it very bluntly, I can't be immune to mental attacks and I can't avoid sonic attacks. Don't look at the high-end appearance of spiritual attack and sonic attack, there are a lot of weapons SCP with this function. It should be only 682's invincible lizard that needs SCP to try its best to lure him into a trap to catch it, right? To be honest, in the confrontation between SCPs and the Foundation, although most SCPs can crush humans to death like bugs, the Foundation is still the hunter in the story, and the powerful SCPs, including 682, can only become prey. I couldn't help but start thinking, what the did we do to get caught? Aside from guys like SCP-682 who eat humans like bread, there are quite a few SCPs in the Foundation who love humans and are completely harmless to humans. However, it is not difficult to understand that if our unknown creature is made public, it will definitely cause an uproar and become out of control. Then again, what am I doing now? At this time, I was sitting in an inconspicuous corner of the park watching a little loli sitting on a park chair with her mother gnawing corn. As the saying goes, apart from vodka, corn is the only thing Mizzy can't give up. Whether you want to eat it or not. Look, Mom, there's a silly beep staring at us. Oh, that's swearing. Children can't talk nonsense. After finishing speaking, the mother dragged the little loli and dropped the corn and left without even looking at me. MD, what kind of quality is that? I looked around and there is no one here right now. Immediately afterwards, I looked at the corn that fell to the ground, and there was still half of it left. I frowned and quickly came to the chair where little loli was sitting first, and then picked up the corn from the ground with lightning speed. Although it is said that it fell on the ground, does this count for me? So I ate it immediately. Ah! Taste of home! Son, this thing is not clean. At this time, an old voice came from behind me, and when I looked back, I found an old lady sweeping the floor. My mother, did this person teleport here? Why didn't I see it just now? Well, it was so embarrassing that I couldn't say anything other than hey, another poor child. It's not easy for children in this society. The old grandma shook her head helplessly, she reached into her pocket and touched for a while, and then she actually took out a small handful of banknotes. My child, although there are not many, go and buy some food. Don't starve yourself to death when you are young. At this moment, I suddenly felt my heart beat faster. Oops. It's a heart-pounding feeling. I'm not too polite. I immediately reached out and took the banknotes. Now I can't wait to kneel down and kowtow to this grandma. At this point I just don't know what to say, because thank you can't express how grateful I am at this time. The old lady seemed to see my hard to express emotions. She waved her hand and said, "Don't thank me, go buy something to eat. My child, there is no end in life, you will find a good job." At that time, I shed tears for the macho man who was so touched by the fuck. Sure enough, no matter how ruthless the society is, there will be warmth hidden in it. But having said that, although the meal fee has been settled, what about the train fare? Farewell to Grandma, I went straight to the place and bought a bag of corn to gnaw on the road. Corn is our Mazi's good friend, we have to be together wherever we go. So the food is settled, how can I get on the train? I've been thinking about this question since last night, although I fell asleep in less than 5 minutes. Sigh, it's such a headache, I haven't thought of a way to get on the train until now, I can't possibly the train, right? Although I have the ability to stop time so that if I want to grab the train it is easy, but I am a good person. How could I possibly grab the train? Although it is really not convincing from the fact that I just tied a weakling naked to a tree yesterday and hitchhiked on the road. Although I drink and touch porcelain and strip men's clothes, I'm really a good guy. Although I can't get on the train right now, I'm still walking towards the train station, because after asking, I found out that the last train in this city will leave at noon, and if I still can't get on the train by then, I will go damn way, as long as I can stay away from the SCP, I can do anything. MD, talking like that makes me look like a dead-end villain. To his uncle's Hot Chicken Foundation. At this time, I was walking because I was in a state of thinking and didn't look at the road, so I bumped into the person in front of me. We Mazi are usually strong, and Mazi like me who is freehand and has superpowers is even tougher. The other party was hit by me and fell backwards. I reacted quickly and grabbed the opponent's hand, pulling it up before it fell to the ground. Sorry, I didn't cut the road. I said this, and then I suddenly realized that my Mazi accent was starting to make trouble again, so I cleared my throat and said again, I'm sorry, I didn't see you just now. Yu reading www.yuyugonshu.com. The other party was a beautiful woman in her 20s. Her slightly curly long golden hair successfully attracted my attention. The quality of the hair made me even want to stretch out my hand to stroke it. I'm afraid I used rejoice. Ah, no need to apologize, it's because I was thinking about something just now so I didn't. In the middle of her speech, when she raised her head and saw my face, she suddenly stopped talking. I raised my eyebrows in surprise. Is there something on my face or I am too handsome to be fascinated by me? Are you okay? I asked. Ah, no, nothing. At this time, I noticed that her face was slightly flushed. What should I do? Could it be that I am so handsome? Oops, it's the feeling of myocardial infarction. Where are you going? The beauty asked. At this point, my brow furrowed, just in case I needed to think of an excuse. I'm going to the train station. My parents were playing mahjong in a small store in the village, but they passed away on the spot for some unknown reason. I want to go back and visit them one last time. I explained. There is nothing wrong with this reason. A loved one passed away. As a son, I must go home and have a look. I'm such a genius. I just don't know why this girl suddenly looked at me so strangely. It has to be said that Gaia is indeed quite clever, but cleverness belongs to cleverness. His IQ fluctuation is really unstable, referred to as neuropathy. Okay. The corner of the girl's mouth twitched, and then she took a breath and smiled. So the two of us are on the way, do you mind if we go together? I just arrived here, towns don't know their way yet. Damn, I suddenly got Calvin, I have a headache, give me some time. There are 3 major illusions in life. There are 3 major illusions, namely, someone knocks on the door, my cell phone vibrates, and she likes me. As a time traveler, I understand the 3 major illusions in life very well, especially the third one, she likes me. Damn, you are a poor dick, you have no money, no car, no house, and you are not handsome, so why do people like you? True love is not so easy to find. Let alone love at first sight. To be realistic, you fat house can only stay at home and drink happy water forever. I'm afraid the best time in your life to develop a relationship between a man and a woman is to touch hands and then it's gone. Please don't get me wrong, I'm not targeting anyone, because I was also a TMD dead fat house before crossing. I have experienced all these hardships, and the lessons have always been vividly remembered. I remember it happened at noon. I was standing on the rooftop, opposite the girl I liked. Years ago, me, Xiao Yan, I like you, I have liked you since the first time I saw you. Now we have been classmates for 3 years, and we both I'm about to graduate, so I. Xiao Yan, me. Xiao Yan, sorry to interrupt, who are you? Me, died on the spot after this time. Every time I have a conversation with a woman, I will think of the scene that made the hunk cry, so I just stopped talking to women from then on, and I just sat on a chair and made out with the computer sauce. Go to hell, woman, I have been with the computer. At this moment, I noticed that the beautiful woman on the opposite side raised her eyebrows in surprise, and then she asked, "Excuse me, what's wrong with you? Why are you crying all of a sudden?" "What? Crying? It's impossible, we Mazi never cry, I am proud tears, as a senior member of the FFF regiment, I know that I will soon become a real archmage, so I am proud to cry. I lie to myself. Gif. No, it's nothing, I just got sand in my eyes." Well, I know I'm just an exception, but I really left a psychological shadow. People were prepared to be rejected, but I didn't expect that after being a classmate for 3 years, she didn't even know me. I've obviously tried my best to get her attention. Boys who play football and boys who play basketball are handsome, they are all farts. As long as you are handsome, you can play glass balls, but if you are ugly, playing golf is like shoveling shit. I've seen through this world. This reality is depressing. With the lessons learned from the past, I took a careful look at this beauty this time. Such a beautiful girl, if it wasn't for her conspiracy, I wouldn't believe it. Although I have transmigrated and become a handsome bee, this is not a reason, because the breath of poverty on my body cannot be stopped, not to mention that I still have a big bag of corn in my hand. Just like a little from the countryside. Of course, all the premise I said is based on the fact that she is really interested in me. However, I have emphasized the 3 major illusions in life countless times, so maybe she really just came to the city and didn't know the way to make friends. After all, the Foundation will never be so savage to send a woman to arrest the SCP, right? It's okay if you go with a company, but to be honest, I don't know the way very well, but I'm also in a hurry to go to the train station. It seems that there is only the last train. I said, that's really great, otherwise I would have to search for a long time by myself, and it would be a bad thing if I wasted too much time. The beauty patted her chest and let out a sigh of relief, and I looked down at her bright white hand. For a while, I just felt my blood rushing up. Cough, don't see evil, don't see evil. It really is a bra with big breasts. Ah, that's right. My name is Carla. What's your name? The beautiful woman who called herself Carla looked at me and asked. I fell into deep thought again. Should I be more professional and use a pseudonym here? But I feel that this beauty seems to be very good. It shouldn't matter if I say it, right? You know, our boys have long names, you can just call me Gaia. Gaia. Kara pursed his lips and then nodded, it's a very good name. Kara's words and deeds are like a pure big sister, giving people an indescribable sense of trust and intimacy. But it's useless to me. Bah, how close are you? You don't look like vodka. Gaia, didn't you say that the train is about to start? Then let's go quickly. Hearing that, I nodded. I really don't have much time left. The SCP group simply tied me to a wooden stick and kept burning a fire. It's impossible for me not to be in a hurry. I'm not Henry. My personal thoughts are, although the Foundation is perverted, it should not be so perverted that a woman comes out to arrest the SCP, but the SCP must have come to this city, and they definitely know that I will go to the train station, and I pretend to be an ordinary citizen traveling with friends is even more difficult to be found. The premise is that Kara has nothing to do with the Foundation. If so, then I have been exposed. If I don't pretend to cooperate, then I get caught faster. Why am I so suspicious now? After a brief introduction, we walked towards the train station in the city. On the way, Kara answered a phone call. It seemed to be about some private matter. She deliberately found a place where no one was around to talk to her, and she came back after a while. Here. At this time, I felt a sense of hunger, so I subconsciously looked at the corn in my bag, which was the only thing I had. After I bought it, I didn't eat it until now to catch the train, so I'm still on an empty stomach state. Alas, the world is so cold. If I were still playing computer games at home at this time before time travel. In the end, even though he has become a handsome guy with superpowers after time travel, he is a handsome guy who is chased by a group of old men. If this is the case, I would rather be a dead fat house. In fact, if the people chasing me are a group of girls, I can still consider it. But unfortunately, the people chasing me are all rough guys from the SCP Mobile Task Force or slippery SCP agents like Loach. I don't want to be super. I am capable. Please let me go home and be a happy dead fat house, okay? When we arrived at the train station, I could see from a distance that the gate of the train station was blocked by 2 policemen, one old and one young, and everyone was blocked by them. I'm a little surprised. What's wrong? Is it about me? MD, now I see everything and feel that this has something to do with me. This is obviously a manifestation of high tension. No, I need a bucket of vodka to calm my mind. Kara and I leaned forward, and then we barely heard the voices of 2 police officers shouting at the crowd. The crowd was bustling and complaining endlessly, and the 2 police officers were not loud enough, which made it difficult for me to hear what they said, but I still heard the General IDEV train was broken down, and this train will be delayed 1 day. Fuck. Isn't this a coincidence? You malfunction as soon as I come. I'm afraid the sky is going to kill me. As a good boy, I am worthy of the sky above, and I am worthy of the ground below. But God, the blind guy, doesn't care what happens to me. Hey, time travel novels are all deceitful. Why are other people time traveling to become the 2nd generation of rich people or martial arts geniuses who are surprised by the bones and are favored by big bosses? Why come to me and become a special sandbag for the protagonist and a criminal who is also used as a negative teaching material while lying down? Ah, the train is out of service. Kara bit her lip, looking worried. She let out a long sigh, and leaned on me with a crooked body. Fuck, are you so proactive? I didn't know what to say for a while, so I let her lean on me. Nonsense, if you don't rely on her, should you push her away? Don't be in vain. But having said that, this silky hair feeling, you reading www.yuyugonshu.com, this fresh taste, is it really the use of Rejoice? Where did you buy it? I carefully observed the surrounding area. It was crowded with people, but I don't know why people avoided Kara and me as if deliberately deterred to keep a distance of nearly 5 meters from us. Is it because I don't drink vodka? Why do I feel that there is something strange about Kara beside me? Are you thirsty? Carla straightened her body and asked me by the hand. It's a little bit, but unfortunately I don't have any money. I sighed and continued, it would be nice if there was vodka. I saw a bar on the street just now on the way here, do you want to check it out? Carla continued to ask. I really want to go and have a look. The problem is that I have no money. All the money has been exchanged for corn. If I had known, I would have saved some money to buy wine. At this moment, Carla took my arm. Oh, woman, you still want to charm me? Charming. You don't look like vodka. How long have we known each other? Kara, don't worry about the money, I'll pay for it for you, after all you are the special one. Lying grass. I suddenly found that this girl is so beautiful. What's the matter with that golden holy light on her head? Could it be an angel? I immediately hugged her in a bear hug and kissed her on the forehead with a mouthful of muah. then turned and ran to the bar on the side of the road. Vodka, Dola. Seeing Gaia run away, Kara's eyebrows twitched, she wiped the drool on her forehead, then took out her mobile phone from her pocket and dialed the number. Thank you for your cooperation at the train station, Connor. The target has now been lured. Go to the next location. My companion should be next to you, right? Please also inform me, it's over. Ah. In my eyes, there is only darkness. By the first dutiful son of Lord Aaron. I shook my head violently and finally woke myself up a little bit, but all my eyes can see now is a mosaic, which means that I can't see anything clearly. What happened? Kara and I went to the hotel for a drink, and I had a pint, and then... Fuck. In an instant, the hairs all over my body stood on end. I'm afraid I've been by someone. My brain became sober in an instant, and even my eyes could see clearly. Obviously, I was sitting on a chair, and the man sitting opposite me was wearing glasses and wearing the familiar white coat. Immediately, I couldn't help but swear, I am Cao Li Leilet. It's been a few days since I escaped from this shelter. Trademark was caught again. I am now even more desperate than being beaten by a bear. I tried to stand up, but then I found that I was directly imprisoned on the chair. The hard metal shackles made me unable to move. If the person locked here was a girl, I would smile and say, there should be something here. Book. But now it's me who is locked here. I can't laugh at all. Not only can I not laugh, I even want to spray Dr. Cao Li Leila in front of me to death with the fighting saliva of our fighting nation. Also, where did this guy Kara go? I knew I couldn't trust women. Why have I survived so many ordeals but not a single beauty test? Why am I so easily deceived? I can't wait to slap myself twice. If it wasn't for the consideration that I can bear with my bare hands and I would probably kill myself with this slap, I might really slap it, just say it out of pain. SCP-2333, how are you feeling now? Dr. Cao Li Leila asked me with a smile. SCP-2333? Looks like this is my new code name, but how do I feel about it? Hee. I immediately raised the CNM International gesture towards Dr. Cao Li Leila, and the other party seemed not surprised by my reaction. He shrugged indifferently and continued to ask, why did you run away? If I don't run away, I'll lock you up. I retorted, and looked at the room I was in. There are only me and Dr. Li Leila Cao, but I'm sure there will be a lot of SCPs outside the door. Soldier. We, the SCP Foundation, usually don't take drastic measures when dealing with harmless SCPs. After all, our motto is control, containment, and protection. Although we can't give you complete freedom if you cooperate, we can satisfy your needs as much as possible. Request, even if you caused 7 guards to be injured and admitted to the hospital when you escaped, one of them may have completely lost the ability to reproduce. Fuck. Am I that my feet? Didn't I already control the intensity? Oh yes, I will become stronger when the time stops. I couldn't help being a little embarrassed. When I looked up again, I found that Dr. Cao Li Leila was writing something in a notebook with a pen. Then, I'm going to ask the next question. Dr. Cao Li Leila glanced at me, rolled his eyes and continued, when did you discover your ability? Is it innate? I sighed, I was caught. I can only answer truthfully, I found it in the first experiment after I came to the SCP Foundation, and I almost died at that time. Very good, the first experiment. Dr. Cao Li Leila wrote something down in his notebook and continued to ask, this ability is not something you can control yourself? How long does it usually last? Why should I tell you? That's right, why should I tell them my ability? Then wouldn't it be easier for them to catch me? Take a look at Dr. Cao Li Leila's ugly face of capitalism. Maybe what else will I use to tempt me? We guys all have TM unshakable iron will, you still want to seduce me? If you cooperate, we will send a box of vodka to your containment room every day. At the same time, if you want to keep a bear as a pet, we can also satisfy you. My ability will only be activated automatically when I am attacked, and the duration will last until the danger passes. Humph, it's actually vodka and a bear, then I should give you some face today and tell you a little bit of a secret. Obviously I have to tell the whole story, okay? Isn't your change of attitude a bit too? Forget it. I saw Dr. Cao Li Layla aside, and I knew that he was the kind of person who had no taste. Absolutely no vodka. Okay then, do you think you acquired this ability for any other reason? I don't know. I simply replied, I can't say that I came from another world, can I? Even if I say so, they will probably believe it. After all, the people in SCP are well informed, and they have seen a lot of ghost things. Things that sound NB like my time traveling are probably oh, you have time traveled, is that world safe? Is there an SCP? But I'm sure I won't tell all about myself, everyone needs privacy. Okay, next point, what do you think about capturing the Syria agent you returned to the Foundation? So Kara is a pseudonym? I don't want to talk about women right now, I'm about to be imprisoned for life for women. I can't help but feel a little desperate, why does this SCP really send a woman to catch the SCP? What about men? Why use it? Not even a girl. I bother. Alas, I don't have any views on women, it's just that my psychological shadow is a bit big. I also have a problem, Kara, no, Agent Syria is so obvious that he wants to approach me, but I don't feel it's not right at all. Emotional, I haven't seen a woman for such a long time, so the whole person is numb? Okay, the last question, this question is very important. Dr. Cao Li Lele wrote a few more entries in his notebook, then raised his head and looked at me, what do you think of the Foundation? I was silent now, and I didn't give a response for a long time. To be honest, I don't know the Foundation or the people or monsters with special abilities they guard. Anyway, the SCPs I saw were locked in my own prison. In the asylum, I also saw them because I was forcibly dragged to do experiments, but before I even had a word, those cute little things jumped on me and tore the guy next to me in half. Now that I think about it, I suddenly want to have a fight with them. It seems that I can't satisfy me anymore. But those guys who are dead are really going to end miserable. To be honest, the SCPs I have seen in experiments are all Keter level, and I feel that the Foundation is the only cage that can lock them, but I don't want to be locked. I know that a safe level SCP treatment needs the treatment is much better than Keter level SCPs, but that is not enough. I have time traveled, but it does not mean that I will let fate lock me up in the shelter for a lifetime. I want freedom, not a cage. Humph, the only thing we must admire is vodka. What is your destiny? Can I drink it? But for the time being, I'd better not play it dead. If I don't cooperate obediently, it will be very difficult for me to run out again if the Foundation strengthens its defense against me. As a result, I just opened my mouth and didn't know what to say. Reading www.yuyugonshu.com. I can't be foolish, can I? Anyway, I was at class personnel, and I was forced to do so many experiments. If I exaggerate too much, I will be suspected, and if I am not satisfied with my F***ing boast, it will make others unhappy. If I'm suspected of having a second escape and deemed difficult to contain, then I'm basically scheduled for Keter. You must know that most Keters have no human rights or beast rights in the Foundation, so you can't ask for anything. If you look at Mr. 682, if it weren't for him, NB would have been played to death by the Foundation long ago. Alas, I hope I'm exaggerating. So how should I answer this question asked by the doctor? I first looked at Dr. Cao Li Lele, who was waiting for my answer in a serious manner, and then pretended that I could still hold my chin and think. After a while, I finally thought of what to say. Mao Zi, I will never be a slave. When I said this sentence, I found that Dr. Cao Li Lele's eyebrows were wrinkled into a pimple, so I hurriedly said the next sentence, unless food and shelter are included. A silence. Dr. Cao Li Leila finally loosened his eyebrows. Gaia was much more kind than he imagined, and judging from the fact that he felt embarrassed when he mentioned that the guard was injured at the beginning, although he has superpowers, but still just an ordinary person at heart. Isn't it just food and shelter? What is this? You will live in a large suite of 100 square meters, and you will have the best breakfast, lunch, and 3 meals. Although the vodka itself may be a lie, a case of vodka for 3 days is enough for you. Bears? You can raise it if you like it. Just please don't mess with 682 every day. No problem, SCP-2333, if you have other needs you can ask later, but for now we should all get some rest.